There's a vacuum there, and something has to fill that vacuum. And movies portray that which we generally don't have access to, the intimacy inside of a relationship. Good morning, Aaron. It's January, and we're back into the swing of things. This is a few months before you're born, and if you will, today I would like to talk to you about perfect couples in movies, how they influence us, a few points about them, what are my thoughts and opinions. Ella asked me to talk about them, and I think it's a wise topic to cover. It seems to me that even though we know that movies are fiction, that the relationships portrayed therein are not real, and we shouldn't consider them as being real, even though we know that for the most part, they still very much influence us, the way we think about intimacy and relationships. I think part of the reason is because we have very little to compare it to. I mean, think about it. We have so little information about how real relationships evolve. It is it is present in the world. We have a vast amount of information available. Each one of us perhaps potentially has been in relationships, but that information is being kept secret for the most part. We don't share it. If we're very lucky, we may have parents that deeply love and respect each other for a long time, and we have access to that relationship. We're able to view it because we live with them. That's very rare though. Very few of us have that privilege. We have limited access, I guess, to our friends' relationships, but we're really only looking through the keyhole of what's actually going on. How many of us remember having a couple as a friend who seemed outwardly as the perfect couple? Even the name, the perfect couple, is interesting, and I'll get to it in a second. But this perfect couple abruptly broke up at a certain point. We've learned that intimate details inside the relationship should not be shared. We feel uncomfortable and shameful to share them, especially if they are difficult, if we're suffering, and most of us are to some degree. There's a vacuum there, and something has to fill that vacuum. And movies portray that which we generally don't have access to, the intimacy inside of a relationship, and we take it in, and it influences us. It's a normal thing, I think. Also, the movies about relationships tend to be very popular. I think it's because we're very curious. We would like to know what happens what really happens in detail in the intimacy of real couples. We consume the bits of info that we do get very eagerly from our friends, from tabloids, from the relationship driving license. But we don't, in the most part. So movies provide a peek, let's say. Where it gets dangerous is when we try to compare our real life relationships with what we know from the movies. Chances are it's not going to be as dramatic as in the movies, as fiery, or as simplistic and live happily ever after-ish. None of those things are likely inside a real, healthy, happy relationship. Now, let's talk a little bit about the notion of the perfect couple. Even the idea of perfection seems to suggest that it can be measured and it should be something that we should strive for. Whereas, from what I've seen of happy couples, there's no such thing as perfection. A long-term relationship, the ones that you would consider to be successful because they love each other and respect each other for a very long time, they all speak about the great difficulties they had and had to figure out in order to get there. I would suggest that referring to a couple as the perfect couple is misleading. I mean, what is the perfect couple anyway? They're potentially people that are always happy in a relationship and never fight. Not only does not happen, but if it seems like it's happening, I would be very worried for that relationship because there must be something wrong. I don't know of any relationship where conflict is not abundant. I would instead suggest we substitute the term with a happy couple, which it means that they're mostly happy despite their differences, or a healthy couple that works through their conflicts in a positive way. What can we do to better counter perhaps the unwanted influence of fictional movies in our relationships? It would help to get as much info as we can from real relationships. I mean, I would like to have a healthy, happy relationship, but could you show me an example? I know each person is different, I know each culture is different, but could you show me a few examples of people who actually did it? How did they do it? How does it look like? How do they interact on a day-to-day basis? We need to take steps in that direction. That's one of the key reasons why the relationship driving license exists, because I think it would be very wise for us to negotiate and bring down the taboos against sharing the intimate details of our relationships. Be they healthy, happy, long-term, or any other kind, we have very, very valuable lessons that we can learn if we were to share them. With the help of anonymity over the internet, I know it's very difficult and perhaps uncomfortable to share these details, but it's very powerful and very valuable when they do. I've seen it in action. So please, if you have a similar opinion and a similar curiosity, go to theRDL, go to the forum, make an account which is completely anonymous, and share your stories, share your lessons. I do not I do not see myself as the primary source of information for the RDL, really. I'm trying to gladly share what I know, but at the same time encourage each one of you to share their own ideas and their own stories, because only like that will we be able to get a clear, more healthy picture of what we can do inside the relationship. What do you think? Please leave your opinions, your comments, either on the RDL site, link in the description below, or in the comments. Thank you.